And to the strains of Rocky, here is the boy who beat the bear in 1974, who hopes to beat the man in 1984, Juan Domingo Roldan. He has a lot of public support. He made a lot of believers, actually, in his last fight with Frank the Animal Fletcher.
You know, the Petronellis wanted to see him fight Fletcher. He had fought 3 times previously in America, all on the undercards of Hagler's fights, and was not that impressive. And they said, well, either let's get rid of this bum or let him put on a show so that we can get it on later on. And sure enough, he stopped Fletcher in a very impressive style.
Well, he did. In fact, people said the first straight right hand that he threw at Frank the Animal Fletcher knocked him out. Prior to that, he had him down once before, and they said it was one of his wild right hands as opposed to one of his wild left hands.
Well, it was display of his punching power, and Juan Roldan has power in both hands, Barry.
He is tough. There is simply no question about that. And here comes Juan Domingo Roldan from Freire, Cordoba, Argentina, into the ring. Here's a look at his record. He's had a lot of fights for a man who is just 27 years old.
Both of those losses, as I said earlier, were on disqualifications.
I think, Larry, you made a very valid point, and the test of this man is going to come in what he can take, not what he can give.
Well, we know that he's got a punch, but a lot of men have a punch. He's very aggressive, and he, even as his own manager said, he's not that good a boxer, and he leaves himself open while Hagler could pick him apart. Either you got to put on so much pressure that Hagler doesn't have a chance to think, or you've got to be a little bit more resourceful as you come forward.
Well, he has a lot of support coming from directly behind us. The home fans from Argentina have made the trip up here. There's a look at them. And they are fired up. And Juan Roldan seemingly very relaxed. Ray, another thing, in every fight that we've seen Roldan, and we've seen him fight 4 times now, he comes into the ring cool.
He's very cool and very composed, yet there's no signs of perspiration, which is another indication that he really didn't warm up that much in the back. He has power in both hands, like I stated before, and he has to be very, very cautious of what he throws in the ring against Hagler. He can't get wild. He can't get too careless. If so, he's in for some trouble.
Well, the simple fact is, he has been wild. He was wild in his fight with Frank the Animal Fletcher, too, yet he was very impressive, at least in terms of the fact that he knocked a man out. But he was still throwing punches from left and right field.
Well, once he was able to daze Fletcher, he took his time, Burr, and he fought a very good fight after that.
He just says simply, insofar as his theory of how he's going to beat Marvelous Marvin Hagler, he says, no matter how great the fighter, there's always a way to beat him. It's a pretty simple theory, and I guess you have to say it's fact.
I would support that theory, but what he has to do is support what he's going to do in the ring. He has to be very aggressive. He has to stay on top of Hagler, not give Hagler room to punch and to think. Make a fight out of this boxing match.
I asked Carlos Monzon what he had to do to beat Hagler, and Monzon was a sort of a wild sort of guy. He said, well, he has to beat him from his head to his belly and on his arms and his neck and his shoulders. He says, but who knows how hard Hagler really punches. If he couldn't stop Duran, who was a welterweight, maybe he doesn't punch that hard.
Larry, you made a question here as Marvin Hagler comes into the Battle Hymn of the Republic. There's one that we haven't heard in a while. But people were saying that the type of style that could beat Marvin Hagler is maybe one of a Ray Robinson or Walker, Greb, Ketchel, Tiger, and Jake LaMotta. And that's the name that kind of surprised me. And you might liken the style of Roldan to Jake LaMotta.
Well, he's got the style, but we have to see if he has the substance. The great fighters, no matter what style they had, could beat you. We have to see if he has the beef.
Marvin Hagler now making that final turn and heading toward the ring. Let's watch and listen. So Hagler comes in to the ring, swathed in his robe, as he always is. Marvin Hagler, unlike the way Juan Roldan came in, is always very warm coming into the ring. He always is broken a sweat. He's ready to go from the opening bell.
Well, that's the key, especially for the first round. You have to stay loose, keep moving, and not get cold, because the muscle has a tendency to tighten up.
And there is the record of Marvelous Marvin Hagler, 58-2 and 2, 48 knockouts. This is his 9th title defense. He comes in ready, he comes in lean, and he comes in, according to most people that I've talked to around his camp, mean. So Marvelous Marvin Hagler just getting the final look from the referee, Tony Perez. And he is all business when he gets in the ring. There's no question about that. Here's a look at the tail of the tape. 29 years old, Marvin Hagler, 2 years as senior of Roldan. He has 2.5 inches on him, so he'll have a reach advantage. As you see, quite a reach advantage. They both came in at 159.25. So the numbers would favor Marvelous Marvin Hagler in every respect. But stranger things have happened. Here's a look at the common opponents of these two men, Reggie Ford and Sugar Ray Phillips. I use that term loosely. And both men knocked both men out. It was that simple. Right now, let's go up to the ring announcer, Chuck Hull, for the pre-fight festivities. Chuck.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Superstar Center of the Riviera Hotel, where tonight, Top Rank Incorporated, in association with the Riviera Hotel, presents World Championship Boxing. This bout is sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Art Lurie, Chairman, Roy Tennyson, Executive Secretary, with commissioners in attendance, Mr. Sammy Macias, Mr. Bob Fremoyle, Mr. Freddie Little, and Mr. Sig Rogich. The matchmaker is Mel Grimm. The judges are Chung Young Soo, Kim Morita, and Ovi Ovison. The attending physicians at ringside, Dr. Donald Romeo and Dr. Flip Omansky. The timekeeper is Jane Broadfoot. Counting in the knockdowns, Charlie Roth. And the referee from Puerto Rico is Tony Perez. This is the main event of the evening. 15 rounds of boxing for the undisputed middleweight championship of the world. Introducing in the blue corner, fighting out of Freire, the Argentine, ranked number 1 by the WBA, weighing in at 159.25 pounds. He has a professional record of 50 wins, 2 defeats, 2 draws, and 34 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Juan Domingo Roldan. And in the red corner, the champion, fighting out of Brockton, Massachusetts, weighing 159.25 pounds. His professional record consists of 58 wins, 2 defeats, 2 draws, with 48 knockouts. Ladies and gentlemen, the undisputed middleweight champion of the world, Marvelous Marvin Hagler.
In the dressing room, di la instrucción en el dressing room. ¿Alguna pregunta? Any questions? He claims that the protector is a little too high. Let me check that. Okay, that's it. Right here. See the navel here? No problem. Any questions? All right, shake hands. Good luck to both of you. La mano. All right.
15 rounds of boxing.
Okay, that's okay. That's all right. So we're ready to go. 15 rounds of boxing, and I think the key words that come after that are or less. And there's no question about it that Juan Domingo Roldan is going to come after Marvin Hagler. Now, to what degree of success remains to be seen. He's strong, we know that. And there's a flash left hand. It is a knockdown. First time that Marvin Hagler has ever been knocked off his feet. He's not happy about it.
Apparently, it didn't look as though it was a clean punch. It seemed more like a push, and Hagler just happened to be off balance.
I think that's exactly right. Now Marvin Hagler is going to have to contain his anger here.
That is the key for Hagler, to keep his composure, to keep cool, to not let this guy's style frustrate him.
Hagler going downstairs. That's the first time Marvin Hagler has been down either as an amateur or a professional.
For Marvin, he has to box this guy, take his time, but be very, very careful of this guy's punches, because his punches, Roldan's punches come from all angles, and he has the perfect style for a southpaw like Marvin Hagler.
Marvin Hagler, even though you saw that graphic, and there's another good left hand got into the chin. Roldan's right is his more noteworthy punch, but that was a pretty good left. Showing surprising speed with his punches, too. He came back with the left hand behind a lead right that time.
Again, Roldan he throws the kind of punches, the type of punches, rather, that normally hits a southpaw, because he throws that right hand like there. and it comes from a blind side, and a lot of times the southpaw can't get out of the way of it.
Marvin Hagler, a very smart fighter in the ring, and he may take some time to find his opponent. That was a good short right hand by Hagler.
Marvin also must be very careful not to let that cut reopen that was done by Roberto Duran, because that could create a factor in this fight.
So Roldan, as we expected, forcing the action, a flash knockdown right seconds into the first round. And it was really more a case of Marvin Hagler being in the wrong place at the wrong time than it was a damaging punch. I don't think Hagler was particularly hurt. That right hand did get in by Roldan. It's a good round for him. I started to say, despite the fact that Hagler has an impressive knockout record, he's not a guy who's going to want to get in there and bang with you particularly. That's another good punch by Roldan. And there's the jab, and behind it a left hand, and it slowed Roldan down for the moment.
Hagler's going to find the right method of getting to this guy, using that right jab.
Roldan definitely telegraphs his punches. You know when they're coming, but they still come.
That's what's going to cost him, but I think that Roldan's going to keep reaching for Hagler, and Hagler's going to counterpunch.
Well, we talked about a letdown, and we had something of a letdown there, and it was Marvin Hagler who was let down on the canvas.
You know that. Guys, settle down now. Don't prepare for fighting. That was a slip, man. We all just a slip. Just a slip.
Let's catch it and see if it's a slip or just what it was. Well, as you see, it was a kind of a push and a pull. He landed the punch high on Hagler's head and pulled him down. Hagler is a little off balance here. Hagler usually likes to take his time to size up his opponent in the first couple of rounds, and Roldan isn't giving him the time.
Try to repeat the round. Do exactly the same thing. Easy. Take it very easy and repeat the round. Do the same thing.
You'll notice that Roldan stood up during that rest period. That's been his pattern in the past.
You heard the voice of Tito Alba, who is giving us a simultaneous interpretation of the conversation in Juan Roldan's corner, and Hagler picking up the pace here. Tito Alba interpreting for Tito Lecture and the rest of the corner people for Juan Domingo Roldan. So we will have that, and it definitely will add another image. There's the right hand got in. Ray, I would have to think that was no way a knockdown.
Well, it was evident because of the replay. The punch landed on the back head of Hagler, and it was more of a pull down than anything.
Heavy-handed punches here for Juan Domingo Roldan, and he is exactly as advertised. He's a little bit wild and a little bit out of control, but he can hit. And Hagler's getting the worst of it right at the moment.
Hagler cannot afford to exchange punch for punch with Juan Roldan, because Roldan has the heavier punch and the stronger punch. Hagler needs to do a little lateral movement, make this guy reach, make this guy telegraph his punches, and then correct him on it. Inside, Hagler's more susceptible to being hit by one of those wild punches, like that uppercut there.
Roldan is really throwing more kinds of punches in this fight than I've seen him throw before.
And another thing, Barry, he's able to throw those type of punches for at least a good 10 rounds.
Hagler came back with about 3 punches in a row, but he took a chopping right hand, and I think Hagler got the worst of it. There's another good right hand. Roldan going to that right hand lead.
You notice Roldan's been throwing punches, but let's see the reaction when he gets hit by one of Hagler's shots. Or a couple of them.
And he leaves himself wide open to a very short punch, which of course is the most dangerous kind.
Hold it, break.
Good right hand by Hagler, and there was a good right hand by Roldan. Both men were shook.
cross, the looping right hand. Hagler has to be very careful of that.
I'm just amazed the way he telegraphs his punches that he's finding Hagler as much as he is.
Well, he has more speed behind his punch, Roldan has, than people really have come to believe. And his punches inside are really short.
That was a low punch right there. Let's see if Perez says anything about it. He did at the bell.
Don't get too discouraged now, Marvin.
I am just waiting for
Uppercuts will work good on this guy, Marvin. You slip on your hooks, hold the uppercut. Get that snap and speed going.
Get it going.
Yeah. You're way better than that.
Let's watch Roldan in this round, which was probably a better round for him than the first round. A good, clean uppercut, just as his corner had ordered going into that round. The best defense is a busy offense. A good sort of right hook, half jab by Hagler, but he's been a little bit befuddled, and I think that when he went back to his corner, he looked at the Petronelli brothers a little bit quizzically, as if to say, well, what's going on here? This is not quite what I expected.
And he banged himself in the head a couple of times. Hagler comes out very busily to start the third round. Both men have cut in the past. That's another point should be made. Blood on the bridge of the nose of Juan Roldan.
Hagler's become a little frustrated now, Bert, because the awkward style of Juan Roldan is giving a lot of problems because he really can't set up. Juan Roldan, he comes back with certain punches that are really not in the book, and the thing about it is power behind each punch.
He is definitely a heavy-handed puncher. There's no question about it. And even though he's really coming after his man, he's actually being more patient than I've seen him be in his last 4 fights.
Marvin's doing the right thing. Forget about the crowd. Box this guy. Don't stand there and trade punches.
Hagler had a good combination in close that time. And Hagler getting much the best of that. Every time Roldan scores, good counter-punching right hand by Hagler. Started to say every time Roldan scores, Hagler gets out of there. Discretion being the better part of valor.
See, Marvin now is starting to run into Roldan. He's starting to get his timing, but then again, he's being hit by those bombs.
He is getting hit. There's no question about it. A left hand by Roldan. Roldan just stalking Hagler.
And he's cocking that right hand. You see, Barry, every time that Roldan goes down, he's able to come up with some kind of punch, like the uppercuts.
Uppercuts have been effective for him. The other thing that he's doing is he's setting up his right hand with his left, which is something he hasn't done.
See, Marvin's finding it very difficult to really get this guy in a stationary position to land some shots.
Actually, Roldan scored with a counter-punching right hand that time. He's not usually the counter-puncher.
Watch what happens when Marvin starts to throw his punches. He started to put his feet together because he's got...
Roldan was hurt by Hagler there. He's down between the ropes. And the left eye, it is closed. Just like that, his right eye just shut. I don't know if it was from a punch or a butt or what it was. And Hagler's after him now. He knows he has the man hurt. I've never seen an eye close, Larry, that quickly with a punch.
It seemed to me to come as a result of a long leaping punch, and in that case, it's possible that a thumb got there, but you could see immediately that Roldan winced in his corner. The corner is working feverishly on that eye right now. Let's take a look here as Hagler goes after him. Again, that was not a clean knockdown. He knocked him back into the ropes. Roldan was going away from him and sort of just slipped off balance. There is the punch that apparently hurt his eye. Suddenly you see Roldan is trying to cover up and protect himself.
Sacale los guantes, sacale los guantes.
Pero no te entregué, Roldan, por favor, no te entregué.
And that eye is still bothering Juan Roldan. There's no question about it. He's blinking his eye as he came out. And I think we're seeing a little bit of anger here, and that could be the kiss of death.
Well, I guess it's obvious now that a thumb can turn the whole fight completely around.
You just hate to see that, because this really has been an outstanding fight so far, particularly for Juan Roldan. Blood alongside the nose now. I don't believe it's from the eye.
Although I'm sure it was unintentional.
Of course, sensing the kill here. The blood is coming from the bridge of the nose, but the eye is not in good shape.
You'll see more desperation from Juan Roldan now, because he's trying to get in every shot, every punch that he possibly can. I'm sure his vision is a little blurred, and what Hagler should probably do is move more so to his left.
He is still blinking that eye, and it's only a matter of time until the eye shuts completely. Hagler, of course, the master at working on a situation like that.
Now the eye's starting to swell, Barry.
So Juan Roldan's going to have to go on hard from here. There's no question about it. It's a shame that something like that has to happen in this situation. It was, as you mentioned, unintentional. Nevertheless, it's really marred this fight. Try to get another look to see just exactly what happened. Larry Merchant will talk about that between rounds here.
Normally when something like this occurs, when a guy becomes handicapped, his vision is blurred, because of his experience, he can deal with it. Like myself and Tommy Hearn's fight. But Roldan does not have the type of experience to deal with a fighter like Marvin Hagler, especially when he becomes handicapped. Hagler's going to take control because the eye probably will be closed by the end of this round.
He's not going to see the left hand coming, and of course that is just nothing but trouble.
Eye looks really bad. And now that the left hook, because Marvin became orthodox now.
I trust Marvin will go to the orthodox style much more often. Also a cut on the bridge of the nose. That was there earlier. And if there is a next time in this fight between these two men, you have to think that Marvin Hagler is going to have a great deal of respect for Juan Domingo Roldan. Some of the sting also apparently gone from Roldan's punches. He's virtually in a no-win situation, barring the totally unforeseen, Larry.
Roldan is now sitting down in his corner wisely, and we're going to watch as they treat it. That's a cold steel compress that they're putting on the eye, trying to keep it from closing completely.
No te me entregué, Roldan.
We're trying to find the punch that may have caused it, and here we go. There's a long leaping punch. I didn't see the thumb actually get there. It looked just like the fist happened to land in a very vulnerable spot on the eye. Perhaps we'll roll that back again later and show it to you.
He's giving up, Roldan. He's giving up. I'm taking good care of your eye. It's nothing to worry about. He is giving up. Keep it up. Keep it up. Do not give up. Roldan, do not give up.
This is a 7-1 underdog, and I imagine those people who laid the odds are a bit nervous after 3 rounds.
Well, the eye, of course, of Juan Roldan virtually closed, and it makes him half a fighter, I would think, Ray, essentially.
It makes you more determined, but it also makes you more so aware that your chances are slimmer. I feel that, once again, an experienced fighter, he knows exactly how to deal with that situation. And a fighter like Roldan, who doesn't particularly have the type of experience to deal with this situation, is in for a little trouble. I think what's going to compensate for his inexperience is his own determination and heart.
And of course, Hagler coming with that left hook, it is very difficult for Juan Roldan to see it, and therefore, oddly enough, get out of the way from it. And a combination by Hagler has Roldan covering up, and now Hagler backs him away with another combination. Roldan taking punishment on the eye, being given Marvin Hagler virtually at will. There's a good right hand by Hagler. That one he could have seen. Seems as hard as Marvin Hagler tries to impress, something always happens that takes the edge off a victory for him.
But one thing about it in this particular fight here is the fact that Hagler is somewhat a little fatigued himself because he had to withstand the barrage of punches thrown by Roldan.
Counter-punching left hand by Hagler, the best punch of that exchange.
I think what Hagler wants to do now is get his rhythm going and really get this guy in a lot of trouble.
Roldan's still on top of him, but his punch is not quite having the steam that they did early on. Roldan's still scoring with those punches, even though he is essentially a one-eyed fighter. Shot once more, and Roldan just not able to see the punches coming. Hagler getting the best of it inside now. Roldan's punches have lost their zip. Good right hand by Hagler, off the left hand lead by Roldan at the bell.
Well, there's no question now that Roldan can take a punch. We've seen 2 or 3 real good, solid right hands by Hagler in that round.
Yes, one-eyed fighter right now. Yeah. Okay, Marv, let me give a little water here. Now you get all the rhythm, Marv. Now he's a punching bag.
So you catch him.
Punching bag, Marv.
He can't laugh right now. The pressure's tying up.
Bust that eye open, he's all set. Work those uppercuts inside. Hands up, back up, boom, boom, put them together. If you can get that overhand left, let it go. You bust it right open. Shut up, Professor. Working beautiful. He's even hanging down inside on it. All right? You own this guy. You own this guy.
Let's take a look at one of those right hands. It was a leaping right hand. He didn't have all the steam behind it, but it was one of several that he landed in that round. This fight is now reminiscent of a very, very famous middleweight championship fight. Sugar Ray Robinson in his rematch with Carmen Basilio. Basilio looked like a gargoyle for more than half of that fight with a shut eye, and yet he was there at the end, and a few people thought he even won the fight.
No punching, Greg.
We should point out right here that Tito Alba, who was interpreting in Juan Domingo Roldan's corner, even when we are not hearing him, says that he heard conversation in the corner, Ray, from Roldan saying that he can't see, period. Not that he can't see out of the one eye, but that he can't see.
Because since that's the case, I think it was the trauma of the punch, whether it was a thumb, and it had to be a thumb in order to get into the eye, that affected his vision. And again, Barry, Roldan is basically fighting on sheer determination.
And Hagler keeping him in close. Roldan trying to hold. Hagler just getting the best of it here. And Roldan, according to Tito Alba, was saying that he might want to call it quits. He's just leaning on Hagler, which would indicate that perhaps he can't see.
Well, if that statement was made in the corner, I think the best thing to do is to stop the fight. If he can't see, if his vision is blurred, it's a different story.
By being inside and holding on, Roldan, of course, at least knows where Hagler is.
Barry, what Marvin has to say to me after the fight.
It is going to be interesting to see. I don't think this is one he's going to want to put in a scrapbook particularly.
Okay, good. Very good.
Well, I'm too clean to get into the ring. What Roldan is doing is pretty much a replay of what the way Roberto ran for him, with just poking that left jab out there and sticking with the right hand.
Hagler scoring pretty consistently with the jab, and Roldan, of course, just looking for the one punch that can do some damage, and I'm not sure he's got it anymore. This is going to be one of those fights that you're going to come away from here saying, what if? There's just no other way to look at it.
Marvin should let this guy lay on him. If that's the case with this vision, Marvin should box him. Because what's happened, they started to change punch for punch. And it appears to me that the heavier punch is still being thrown and landed by Roldan. You notice the way that Roldan digs to the body, puts everything behind it.
That was a good right hand by Roldan right there. Roldan showing a lot of heart. Any questions that Larry Merchant posed at the beginning of this show have certainly been answered by Juan Roldan.
We're going to take a look again as they treat that eye.
Estás cagando a piña, imagina vos cómo está trabajando. Estás cagando a trompada, Roldan, con un ojo.
Keep on punching, keep on punching. Give him all you have. We are taking good care of the eye. Give him all you have. The eye is okay.
Larga, profundo, vamos. Si estás entero, viejo.
Deeply.
Si estás entero.
Feel complete. You are complete. You are a good fighter.
En cualquier momento lo sorprendes con un golpe. Si este hijo de putas no se las come solo.
Ray, I have to ask you, if you ever fight Marvin Hagler, you're going to insist on thumbless gloves. Do you think that would happen with a thumbless glove?
No, I think it's impossible, Larry, because the thumb is actually what gets into the eye, not the glove itself.
Well, I think the fact that the eye is okay, as you heard Tito Alba interpret from the corner, is purely a subjective opinion. I think if you ask Juan Roldan that, you might get a different answer.
Now I'm somewhat impressed now with the composure of Juan Roldan. I mean, he's taking his time. He's starting to box a little more now.
He still does seem strong. I thought for a couple of rounds there that some of the sting might have gone out, but if what Tito Alba heard that perhaps he wasn't able to see, that might have made an excuse for it. But in the last couple of rounds, he's had a little bit more in his punches. That eye right now is very close to cutting underneath. It's very red. And Hagler scoring with that jab on that eye.
You notice in Roldan's corner, they tried to tell him that he was okay. They attempted rather than say your eye is okay, it's in good shape, go ahead and fight. I'm sure the fighter, and I can speak for myself, I know fully well that my eye is swollen, and I know I'm in somewhat little trouble. But it doesn't work with me.
Well, Roldan is still pressing the action.
But it is, reassuring to you that they see and that they're trying to administer the eye or the injury.
Juan Roldan almost certainly is going to be a sore puppy tomorrow.
A little Epsom salt will be fine. I see now Roldan's really, at times, he seems very frustrated and discouraged, and then he comes on strong after he lands a big punch. I'm sure that the right eye of Roldan's is very sore, and to every punch that lands, it's pain.
That was a good right hand by Roldan, but he took two in return for the champion.
And there is no question about Roldan can take a punch.
Roldan just kind of waiting, trying to score with the one big punch. That's about all he can do, I guess, at this point.
Hold it. Break.
Here's a split screen of the two corners. Let's listen to Marvin Hagler.
Going into the game. He's just trying to hang and survive now. Uppercuts when you get inside. The main thing. Get that speed in it, too. You pop. Now you throw the punch. That's what you got to do more of. Don't try to land your punches too hard. That's just throwing you off. Yeah. All right? If you get him hurt the first part of the fight, first part of the round, he's gone.
There's a punch that grazed the chin of Hagler, and Hagler came back with a good combination. You know, we've been watching the eye of Roldan quite naturally, but to tell you the truth, he's being pretty competitive in here. Eye or no eye.
Yeah, he really is. It's really overworked to say that he's dead game, but in fact, he's dead game. And he's really picking the pace up here. And of course, Hagler will be very content to do that. Just counter punch, keep the jab in there. In fact, in Hagler's corner, you heard him say, don't necessarily go for the knockout every time. Just keep the pace up.
I just noticed something about Roldan. He was very elusive just a second ago. He was able to get away from some of the punches thrown by Hagler, moving his head from side to side. He looks so stiff, but yet he has very good upper body movement.
And he's really well conditioned. He's gone this distance. We saw a graphic a little bit ago that showed you that he has gone from 11 to 15 rounds on 5 different occasions. Marvin Hagler's going to know he's been in a fight. There's no question about that.
I think the reason Marvin will know he's been in a fight because this guy can punch. He's very aggressive, tenacious, and he's in there. He's not giving up. That body
Good
shot.
body shot. Excellent shot by Hagler, and it really got Roldan out of there. Roldan, right back with a combination that scored. Leaping left hand by Roldan. He looks off balance, but yet it doesn't seem like Marvin Hagler's been able to figure him out.
A fascinating point, Bird, to bring out is the fact that guys with those stone chins, rock hard chins, really can't take a body shot. Left hand thrown by Hagler.
It's not to take anything away from Marvin Hagler. I mean, Hagler has solved the style of Roldan. He is getting much the best of it. Roldan, a couple of left hands, still got some pop in his punches. Juan Roldan came into the ring, as you heard, with the music of Rocky, and so far he's not unlike Rocky. Pretty much getting 3 and giving 1 at the bell.
Está yendo bien, querido. Vamos. Pará. No.
Keep on trying. Keep on trying. Wait a minute.
Respira. Que no sea.
I don't think I can go on too much more, Roldan says.
Pero si estás
I cannot see too well. I cannot see too well, but you are winning, says Tito. You have to work more on him. Don't give up and don't hold him. Keep on throwing.
Into Marvin Hagler's corner where He is doing what is known as a mop-up operation here. Very patient. Very resourceful. Not trying to do too much, just taking advantage of the situation.
Well, Tito Alba interpreting what is the story of this fight for Juan Roldan. Just don't know how much more I can take, he says. I can't see. It's that simple. In fact, it was almost an argument in the corner between Lectori and Juan Roldan. Incidentally, also between rounds, Tony Perez, the referee, went over to the ring physician and said, I want you in here to examine him after this round and take a good close look. That's a quote.
You have to take notice of what Roldan is doing. He's making it quite difficult for Hagler. He's getting a lot of feints, a lot of head feints, and he's not being a stationary target. Roldan delivers the strongest and most powerful right uppercut I've seen thrown by any fighter. You see there, Barry, the way he moved his head out of the way of Hagler's punches.
And that had to be pure instinct because, as you say, he's not seeing him coming. Roldan giving more than he's getting right at the moment.
Again, the head movement of Roldan is making Hagler miss a lot. I think Hagler should stay to his body. There you can't miss.
Might have had his best punch of the fight, in fact, to the body. There's another right hand by Roldan that gets in. Roldan down very low and then coming up with his punches, doing a really good job of it. And Roldan still making Hagler miss.
You know, I think that Hagler's not utilizing the fact that Roldan is somewhat handicapped, but really handicapped totally. He's not taking advantage of it. He's more apt to stand there and trade punch for punch, giving Roldan much more of an opportunity.
There's a good shot again to the body by Hagler. And Hagler senses that Roldan is hurt, and he might be. I think it's a combination of hurt, tired, and wanting to get out of there.
I mean, he's giving Hagler the fight of his life.
He really is, and that's a one-eyed fighter giving Marvin Hagler the fight of his life.
I don't think he wants to fight anymore, Barry. He really doesn't want to fight.
He may not want to fight anymore, but I'll tell you something. I gave him that round. The doctor is now in there looking at the eye. Let's see if we can pick up what's going on in there.
Remember that Galindez was losing his fight, and on the 13th round he won by knockout. You are training for 20 rounds. You are training for 20 rounds. Keep on punching. You are trying to do better than that. You are trying to fight 20 rounds. Remember Galindez. You can knock him out anytime. Don't give up. You're trying to do that.
We're seeing the hurt and the spirit of boxing.
He's going to be desperate, though.
A magnificent gesture here of what fighting is really about.
Let me ask you your honest opinion of that, Ray. His trainer saying, get in there and fight, you're okay, and the fighter essentially saying, wait a minute, I'm not okay.
Well, the fighter is simply saying he doesn't want it anymore. He doesn't want to jeopardize it anymore, especially by being handicapped in the condition of Roldan.
There was a right hand, and Juan Domingo Roldan goes down. And let's see if he wants to get up.
He was hit on the eye also.
And I think he's saying no more. That's it. It was a very interesting night. I think that's one way to put it.
It was a very, very interesting night. It was a game fight by Juan Roldan. I mean, he impressed me tremendously, a great deal. Hagler, as usual, is the showman, technician, displayed his ability, displayed his talent.
And once again, you got to start asking the what-ifs. What if Juan Roldan had not injured the eye early on? He still seemed to have something left.
Oh, for sure, but I think we would have saw a different fight altogether. In fact, we see Hagler here with that right jab, and all of a sudden, the left hand comes behind and the right hand follows. It's a series of combinations that was able to send Roldan to the canvas.
Right on the eye, and I don't think there was any question, but I'm surprised, frankly, that he got up at all, to tell you the truth.
Well, the round prior to this, Roldan didn't want to fight anymore. He was completely discouraged, and I think that was a sign that he was through.
It's an extremely difficult thing. Now, you had a fight on Hart the last couple of rounds against Tommy Hearn, so you've been in that situation. What are the kinds of things that go through a fighter's mind at that point? And I would guess, to answer my own question, really, you just have to kind of dig down and go on experience, and Juan Roldan doesn't have it.
You have to dig down, Barry, and go on experience, and the fact that what is there, I mean, the situation, the injury itself, how severe is it? I think you have to weigh a lot of things, weigh a lot of factors. With Roldan, he was handicapped. He didn't have the experience. He had the heart and determination. But I think with him, his case was far more severe than mine.
Let me just put you in a situation that Marvelous Marvin Hagler is in now. He's a guy who's running out of opponents. Do you give a guy like Juan Roldan another shot? I mean, certainly he was dead game, and you have to wonder about the injury.
Very few fighters want to fight a fighter like Juan Roldan. He displays so much talent, determination, punching ability. The guy is truly top contender, number one.
Well, Marvelous Marvin Hagler is right up above us now, and Larry Merchant is trying to make his way to him. As soon as Larry does, we will get up there. Right now, let's go up to the ring announcer, Chuck Hull, and we will get the official decision. Chuck?
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Tony Perez stops the bout at 39 seconds of the 10th round. The winner by a technical knockout, and still undisputed middleweight champion of the world, Marvelous Marvin Hagler.
So Marvelous Marvin Hagler's hand being raised in victory, and he will be talking right now with Larry Merchant. Larry is with Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Let's go up to the ring now. Larry Merchant with the still middleweight champion of the world. Larry?
Marvin, would you describe the punch that turned the fight around when you closed his eye in the 4th round?
I couldn't tell you. I was trying to put a variety of punches together. He's a good puncher out there, so I couldn't get careless with him. He beat me a lot of times good at the inside with the uppercut there. So I just had to.
He claimed it was a thumb. He claimed it was a thumb.
He thumbed me. I think I got thumbed in the 4th, 5th round, somewhere like that.
Let's take a look right here now. Let's take a look. Here comes the punch in which his eye shut almost instantly.
Yeah, it was an uppercut. He went right into an uppercut.
There it is.
That was an uppercut. You know, I put him. He was a good test for me, and that's what I need for up-and-coming Hampshire.
There it is again.
Yeah.
That's the uppercut.
See? No, right on the corner of the eye with the glove. You catch him on the bridge of the eye.
Have you ever seen an eye close
Well,
that
he
fast?
got me. He caught me, too, with the eye, you know, with the thumb.
I should say, in all fairness, that referee Tony Perez told me that it was a clean punch that just happened to catch the eye that way. Okay,
He caught him on the bridge of the eye coming up.
Were you cold at the start? Was that a real knockdown?
Yeah.
What happened in the first 10 seconds of the fight?
First, side note, I had to figure him out. My strategy was the right way. The
you
way
were knocked
we trained.
down. It was declared an official knockdown.
That was no knockdown. Jeez, I slipped, you know. And I told the referee, he even seen it. I couldn't understand why he started counting. So I balanced, and he just told me I was going back.
Were you embarrassed or humiliated?
No, not really, because I had to keep my cool. You know what I mean? I realized it wasn't a knockdown. It was a slip, you know. But I just wanted the people to feel that way, so I had to come back. I'm in Vegas here, you know.
He was a very awkward and tough fighter.
Oh, yeah.
For a few rounds there, it looked like you just couldn't figure him out at all.
Well, he's very off balance, you know. A lot of times he throws punches. He's very off balance, you know. It's just a matter of time. I knew we had 15 rounds. You don't have to go out there and try to knock a man out. I learned that from a Roberto Duran fight. This is what I wanted to come in with the fight with.
Did he take a punch as well as you thought?
No, not really. I started tagging him. A little bit at a time, he was slowing down. I knew he couldn't continue. I kept taking the breath out of him every time. I hit him with a good body shot. I make him work every second of the round.
You didn't seem to be deliberately exploiting the eye. You were just fighting your normal fight.
Just take my time because, you know, I didn't want to get overexcited in there because I started missing a lot. Take my time, put my punches together. That's the way I've been training down in the training camp. I would just like to give this win to my trainer, Goody Petronelli, because he worked so hard with me the whole 8.5 weeks, getting me prepared, both physically and mentally, for this guy. He knew this guy was made to order for me. Also, I'd like to say hello to my son, Monk, in New Jersey, and my grandmother.
Were you concerned about a letdown? Were you concerned after the first? You looked a little befuddled, I thought, in the first couple of rounds.
He's off balance. You know, it's a different style that I fought out there. I thought that, you know, I wouldn't have any problems, but, you know, he'd throw a punch and he'd come back with something else that was really off balance. You know, so I basically had to keep.
All right, let's talk about the future for you, particularly this year. Is Mustafa Hamsho next?
Well, we guess so. We take a rest here and find out what happens one at a time. You know my destination, either with a big fight with Little Hearns, and they know the deal. You know, I'm just going to stay busy and stay active. I did get hurt too bad here. I showed that I can take a good shot in there, so from a good puncher. He was game. He went for luck. He went for broke. Hey. I can't go out there and start to get careless off a guy like that.
All right, what about Ray Leonard? Do you see now that this is a fight off in the distance that may never happen?
Ray. He's right down there.
Well, what are your thoughts about him now?
Ask Ray. He's right down there. Ask Ray.
Well, we'll ask him, but first you tell us.
Ask him. He's all you got to do is sign the papers, man.
Hey, Val, listen.
Thank you, Marvin.
Congratulations, Marvin.
Also, happy anniversary to Sugar Ray Robinson. Him and his wife's, I think, 24th or 26th
birthday.
Anniversary.
Okay, thank you. You always give us and your opponents your best shot. Now back to ringside, and let's see what Ray Leonard has to say about that question.
Okay, thank you, Larry, and thank you, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. And really, it wasn't so much a case, I don't think, of Marvelous Marvin Hagler coming over here and really try to force a Ray Leonard fight. Now, realistically, let's talk first, Ray. What are the chances? And if there is, in fact, a chance of that happening, what is the time series?
Well, I have to be very serious and sincere with everyone. The fact that I have Kevin Howard to deal with first, and there's no ifs, ands, buts about that. Hagler, quite naturally, everyone wants that to happen. They want to see that reality. I want it to happen. I'm sure he wants it. Well, I'm not too sure about Hagler. I don't think he wants it to happen. But in due time, hopefully in the next 5, 6, 7, 8 months, maybe.
Do you ever allow yourself, and I would think really it could be a dangerous thing, to allow yourself to think beyond Kevin Howard?
No, Barrett. In fact, I'll make an assessment after Kevin Howard. I mean, everything I'm doing now has just been speculations. Hagler is the big guy that everyone wants to see defeated, and I feel I'm the guy that can